And we're back with me, Johnny McMurray, on the On the Spot Football podcast with another fantastic guest. One for the Ballymena fans. He's up there with the top 5 goals. He's a referee, he's an ex-player, and he's a photographer now. I guess you all know who it is. Mr. Desmond Loughery.
How you doing, Joy? Nice to meet you.
How are you, sir?
Good. Fat and round, apart from that. Apart from that, okay.
Your retirement's looking well.
Oh, no, sir. I need to see McDonald's.
Listen, I wanted to say thank you for coming on. I know we've chatted multiple times back and forward. You've done a lot of good work around the clubs and the photography side of things that you're in. So, listen, it's a pleasure to have you on.
No, cheers. Thank you for asking. Like, it's rare, and you think I'm nearly out of football now, 30 years, so...
I know, here flies been, doesn't it?
Now you're talking.
I'm in a couple of months now, but I'm enjoying it now.
I know, before you know, you'll be like me and your dad, fat and
bald. Listen, I don't know about that. Don't know about that. My dad is too. Like,
I know.
Don't know about that.
You'll miss it.
Well, for now anyway, we'll see what happens. Still young enough to.
You'll miss the banter.
If I want to, do you know what I mean? But I enjoy this. Get to have conversations with legends like you. Do you know
I don't know about that. Legends always throw you around a bit, but I always think, but well, I always say nobody can fault me for not giving 100%. So
well, that's it. But listen, I want to get started. You've done a lot of good work. I was just to say there, I've jumped in. You've done a lot of stuff. You've played, you've refereed in the game, you've been a photographer in the game. I'm just wondering, how does all that come around? How does one go from one to the other, to the other?
To the other? It's strange, well, the football thing is just, what you always want to do, and it's well hard to tell the young boys, I always say it's back in the day. Everybody talks now back in the day, but
that's just because you're like...
well, that's because you're getting old, really. Well, in our day, the football transition was, sure, there was really not a lot of things to do in them days. It was either play football, rugby, or cricket. There's no mobile phones, not a lot of stuff on TV. So school days...
Black and grey at that age,
was black and white, to be honest with you. Black and white, for God's sake. So them days, the football thing was just always something I wanted to do, play football. I was actually a better runner than I was a footballer, right? To be honest with you, I was pretty quick, and then I could run long distance, probably the same speed from start to finish. So I started out at school. At school, I wasn't too good now, so I wasn't allowed to play football at school.
Right, okay.
And I wrote about this before. So the punishment in them days was a lot different. So didn't play football at school a lot, very rarely. So did a bit of running the weekends, races and stuff, cross country, and then just sort of transitioned into football, and then went to a junior club, Roe Valley, and then Ballymena came knock on the door, and then I actually couldn't believe it, signed for Ballymena in 1988, a long time ago. Moving from the football then to the refereeing, when I got a wee bit later on up in my years, I qualified as a referee.
Okay.
I always was interested in it because it's a thing. I always think it'd be a good thing for the players to do the referees course.
Yeah.
Because then it might stop them from giving the referees a bit of abuse. Now, some of them deserve a bit of abuse, right enough. But I think if you know the laws of the game inside out, as a player, you respect the referee a wee bit better. So that's the reason why I done the course. And then what I used to do then was close season, I would referee in the summer.
Okay.
Right? But then the AFA stopped me from doing that. Apparently, you weren't allowed to be a player and referee at the same time.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty strange because if you're a senior player and you're refereeing a youth match, I can't see where the conflict of interest was, but apparently you couldn't be at the same association. So they stopped me from doing that. So then when I retired, then I just went into refereeing. Mm-hmm. And then I suffer from bipolar. So the thing, part of the things of as I always want to be the best of the best. So when I do something, I do it either full on to become the best. So I try to do that at the football, and I think I didn't do too bad at that. And the refereeing, personally, I thought I did pretty good at it. And then I always then liked the camera end of things, but really couldn't afford to buy the gear.
Okay.
Because I married young to Anne-Marie, and we had 4 kids in 5 years.
Right.
So I learned how to control the thing, you know what I mean? Once I learned how to control it, we had no more,
You had some engine on you from a young boy.
I know. So, as the man says, once you learned a bit of control, it was that stopped all the weans. So what I did then was, when the Waynes all got big, and the Waynes all got big, sort of got big, and Amory's a qualified teacher, and the Waynes are big now. I was a bit more selfish with my money, so then I bought the gear and then got into it. And now when I'm in that, I want to be the best at that.
Fair.
So that's sort of like a transition.
You know what? It's probably not a bad way to be.
No.
You just want to be the best at everything. That's not a bad way to go out.
As I said to you before we started, if I played football in the backyard and I break my young boy's leg, the ball, full stop.
It's nice to be straight, but I mean, he's the wee lad. You know what I mean?
I don't give two F's. Listen, like my view of it is, if you get nothing for second best.
Yeah.
And that's the way I think it was always installed in me through my life. And I always installed that in my kids. Be the best at what you can do. My girls was never beat at anything at school. My chap was never beat at anything at his school, and that's the way it went through. Because you're competing in life from day one. You're competing for jobs, money, women, everything. So everything's a competition from day one. So that's the way I am. I'm very competitive, and I think I'll take that to my grave.
Well, listen, it's a good way to start, but I don't want to get too far advanced. I want to bring you back.
Right.
So you've talked about school.
Yes.
You talked about being a bit of a rocket in school.
Mm-hmm.
A few slaps on the wrist. I think my dad used to tell me all the time if he was messing around in school, there'd be a couple of slaps, a couple of backhands.
Yes.
A couple of is it like a wee wooden ruler?
Oh, it was worse at my school.
Right, so I take it that sort of stuff was rife in those days.
Oh, listen, school was an absolute disaster for me. Like I left school at 16. I was expelled from school at 16. So like I'd just be truthful about it. Like I was an absolute balloon.
Right.
As we had a class of unteachables.
Okay.
Was it right? I don't know. That's the way it was in them days. That's how they had cards we were dealt. If you got a hooving in school from a teacher, when you come home you get a hooving again.
Yeah.
Because when you were through out or something happened, that's the way it was. So I was actually stopped from playing football at school. I wasn't allowed to do no sports at school at all. Because that's what the punishment was. Now, I probably had that condition at school, but in them days they're not picked up. Life has moved on, so all these conditions now are picked up early, so it's not as violent.
People are obviously trying to diagnose these things. People are kind of taught around how to deal with certain functions, how kids will react to certain things, and ultimately they're able to spot these sort of little things earlier. But as I say, back then it was never a common thing. If someone was just a bit odd, it was just a bit odd. It wasn't maybe autism. It was he's just a strange kid and he likes to be by himself. And
where in my case it was that he's just a bad bee. You know what I mean? He's not teachable. We'll sort him out, and then what you just sorted it with an iron fist in them days. Yeah. But hey, listen, I think it maybe shaped me into the man I am today.
So you move on from school, you start playing. You're from Limavady.
Mm-hmm.
Roe Valley was the young kickers for you. That's where you kind of get started. Talk to me about that.
Roe Valley, great intermediate league club. Them and Limavady. Limavady was the old B division. Roe Valley was sort of intermediate league, so there was always big rivalry in the town to grab decent players, as they call it. Limavady was a very successful club then, United. I went over to Limavady United for a couple of weeks, and not that I didn't enjoy it. I think I was very young. I was naive. Like I was only maybe 15, 16, and you're playing against massive grown men. Probably boys who'd been in the Irish League 2 had dropped down, and so I went across to Roe Valley, and I stayed with Roe Valley for 2 seasons. And we won the Intermediate League in 1987. Scored a lot of goals. I think it's 66 goals in that year. A lot of clubs was then sort of looking at you, a lot of interest in. A fella Kenny Cummins was the manager at the time. We had a very good side with a couple of ex-professionals. Pat Mullen used to play for Korean, and a couple of old ex-pros, an ex-Derry keeper. Derry City keeper was playing for us, and we had a very good side then. But I was only, I think, 7 stone wet, and playing the Man's League, it'd give you a baptism fire for a year.
Yeah.
Then during that season, Kenny Cummins was friendly with the manager, Alec McKee, and he asked him, would he bring me up to play against a friendly? And the funny thing is, the friendly was against Chimney Corner.
Okay.
All right. And I could mind as if it was yesterday. Every time I played against Chimney Corner, because we had met them in cups and stuff, I always scored, because Chimney Corner's pitch used to be massive.
Massive, yeah.
And then nobody could catch you. So once you got ahead of them, or once you got turned at all, that was hit good night, Irene, nobody could get you. So we played Chimney Corner Ballymena on the Tuesday night, and I think we beat them 4-5-0, and I scored 2. Signed on the Thursday night for Ballymena, and didn't even know what I was signing, just come on and sign, and I thought it was, no, this was it.
Yeah.
This was it, signed for Ballymena on a Thursday night, and made my debut on a Saturday against Korea in the Derby.
Jeez.
Right, and to be honest with you, no, it's like I can mind every single game I played. It was unbelievable. I come out and the place was, like I come out for the warm-up and this place was mental with people packed right round. Everybody, nobody knew a damn who you were. And I mean, the very first ball was played up to me. I mean, Anthony Gilmore was playing with Korean and I had really played against him in youth level. And they, listen, they mix run and look hard, Anthony, you know what I mean? Like, so when I just cut the ball by him, skipped in the wing, and then that's history since then. It's just hit. And did really well, like, now, to be honest with you.
Well, you ended up doing fantastically well, which we will get to. But talk to me about that couple of days, because those things right now would never happen again. Those being able to be at a club at that level, as you say, the old B division.
Yes.
You've jumped probably 3 or 4 leagues. You've came up into the Premiership within 3 days after doing a trial game.
Yes.
That's just unheard of. That won't happen again.
No, I was... See, that was a mad year for me because I passed my driving test that year. I got married. Passed my driving test and got married and signed for Ballymena in one year. I don't know which one was the best, right now, but
that's your West Murray anyway.
Well, no, like she knows. But I mean, coming up, right, and everybody was talking to you, and Paul Hardy was unbelievable to me, because he must have been the main man at the time, Hardy.
Yeah.
And Stevie Conville was there at the time, played for Kim. I think he went to Glenavon, just stripped a couple of games after that. And, oh my God, like, it was just a different world. Like, it was like you're standing in front of, you're playing on a Saturday and there are 10 people on a dog, and, you know what I mean? And a pitch was onto the neck of muck. Then all of a sudden you come out in front of 6,000-7,000 people. And I didn't even know what I signed. But somebody said, but it wasn't a while after they signed a pro contract that I didn't even know, right? And all I wanted to do was play football.
Yeah.
So
there was never any worry about money at this stage. Get me there, and all.
Money wasn't even mentioned.
Yeah.
And then Alex said to me, you have to wear a shirt and tie. I says, what do you mean you have to wear a shirt and tie? He says, you have to wear a shirt and tie on Saturday. I hadn't even got a shirt and tie. I'm from the country, right? And I had no driving license, couldn't drive. So Kenny Cummins brought me up to the match and I up in a shirt and tie. And I started. I couldn't believe it. Started in a derby. I know what I mean. It was all different. And then it was all different way of playing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was amazing. I just, God almighty. And then just for that, the whole way right through it was, for them winning a game straight after it, was mad. I think about 2 games into it, after that we went to Glentoran.
Right.
And I scored an oval against Glentoran, and we beat the Glens 2-1. So it was nice to do that, and then just everybody came, or people come up and looking for your autograph, and you're going, Jesus, what's going on here? Like,
It's a whole different world.
It was just a different planet. Like.
But even at that, then you're talking about the crowds there, 6,000-7,000. I know we get those derby days.
Yes.
If you're at Boxing Day, you get the big crowds and stuff. That was
standard.
That was
across the green.
Yeah.
I seen us playing Korean and holding the game back for half an hour.
Yeah.
20 minutes, maybe 10,000-12,000, and God, how you get some abuse was great.
Yeah,
about that.
You loved it. You're ready.
It was great. You know what I mean? But just, I don't know. All I want to do is play football. Like, as I always talk about this and I always say it, like, I thumbed it from Limavady to Ballymena 3 times a week for £12.50.
Yeah. Mental.
No, as you ask somebody to go to the shop now for £12.50, they wouldn't go to the shop.
You couldn't get anything in the shop.
You couldn't get out at £12.50. £12.50, and used to thumb a left. Used to get it's crazy, I used to get thumb a left to Korean on a match day. A typical match day for me on a Saturday was I had a thumb to left from Limavady to Korean, right? And I'd have been over Korean, say, at 9 o'clock. Then I would have got the bus from Korean to Ballymena, and you'd been in Ballymena at 11 o'clock. So you used to walk around the tour centre from 11, and you had to meet at 2.
Right, okay.
So then I'd have walked up to the ground, and you'd been up at the ground at 1 o'clock, hung around, and then Billy Piper was playing for us at the time, and Billy Piper would have left me back to Korean. So after the match, now, in them days, and I love Pipes to bits, and he's the best man in the world, like, But in them days, the drink culture was after the game, everybody piled into the social club. 95% of players took 3 or 4. 95% of players drunk and drive. Like there's no sense of telling lies about it. That's the way it was. So most of the boys had a drink, and then I was left off at Korean 10 o'clock at night, and then I thundered home from Korean Loughery. And my wife was sitting in the house with 4 weans under the age of 5. My French, sorry. 4 weans under the age of 5. So I left the house from 8, and I wasn't back to 11. That was a match day for £12.
Puts a lot of things into perspective there, doesn't it? Because like we usually turn up probably about 1 o'clock, 1:30 for a 3 o'clock kick-off, and you're leaving the house at 11:30, 11:45 most weeks to get to Ballymena, and you're sitting going,
I know, a long day.
And you're sitting going there, you're beginning that travel from 8 o'clock just to get there, and £12.50 is
£12.50.
I know it's probably £12.50 back in the day was good, but when you compare it to today's day and age,
it's nothing. No, I mean, I was after a couple of weeks. After a couple of weeks, I was brought on, and I went, "Oh God, what have I done wrong?" And boy, gave me an envelope, and they're £500 on it. Right. And we were only married. I was only married at the time. I swear to God, we had nothing. We had a washing machine, a bed, and a sofa. The sofa was second hand. We had lino on the kitchen floor, lino on the living room floor, and there weren't even wallpaper on the walls. And I got £500, and I went home with £500. God, I thought I won the lotto.
Yeah. Mental.
I know, and with all them kids, and we just had nothing. My wife wasn't working, and my job, I was working. I think at them days it was £55 a week. In the education board, that's what your weekly wage was. And to be handed £500, oh my God,
just completely shocked.
Oh,
did you tell her, Marie, or did you keep it for?
No. She's no. What I used to do is, and the missus always back me up. With £12.50 every Saturday, you get the envelope £12.50 on it, or £15. Sometimes you scored, and I just used to again throw it on top of the kitchen table. Sure, bought a loafer, bought things in them days, and that. And then later on, then the following year, I'd done that for a full year, and then the second year, Ballymena bought me a Money Metro.
Right.
They bought me a wee Money Metro and taxed it, insured it, and that's what they done. Like that's
do we say no?
They bought me a blue Money Metro. It was unbelievable. I got my own car. Taxed it, insured it. The insurance was £320. Taxed it, insured it, and then my wages went up from £15 to £35.
Unreal.
That was the second year.
Best thing about it's a car there.
Oh, car. We had freedom.
Yeah.
Every go places, and I think it was 180,000 mile liter. That's what done it for 3-4 years. But sure, listen. Like it's
worth it. Oh, such a good gift though too. The fact that you're having to do that, and then they're going, "Well, we sort you out. We'll get you a car. I know what you need. There you go. We'll help you." Because let's be honest, it turned out in their favour.
Oh, it did. But the thing is, see, I mean, coming back to Loughery one time, and there used to be summer cups on, and used to play them. You were like a mercenary boy, so you wouldn't come play a summer cup for money. You weren't allowed to play them, but you played them. And I mean, boys shouted, "Oh, you're a mercenary! You took a car of Ballymena." No, you know what I mean? Like,
you're not going to say no.
No. Oh, jeez, was like they thought you'd give you $1 million, but sure, listen.
But I wish when I signed there 2 years ago to give me a new motor, but that didn't
happen. Wouldn't have been a Money Metro. Wouldn't have been a Metro.
I didn't pay it back like you did there, so they're probably.
No. Listen, you give 100%. That's the most important thing.
But no, that's such a different story to hear.
Yes.
Because it's probably one of the first times I've ever heard of a club getting somebody a car.
Yes.
But it's brilliant.
Aye, and the man who bought me the car, I met him, and I still meet him. He always goes, "You man, I bought you the wee car." I mean, I always, thanks very much.
Who did you still got those relationships going to?
Oh, aye, listen, as I always say, I haven't many medals, but I have plenty of memories. Memories are better than medals to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Talk to me about the whole career through Ballymena. I think it spans over, what, 10, 12?
10, 11 seasons, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, first year was roller coaster. Won an Irish Cup in the first year.
Right.
Serious high to the worst day of my life, not getting on.
Right. Okay.
Sub.
Listen, what happens. We've been there. I feel your pain on.
I feel the pain, but I can't say it well up because Alec McKee was probably the best manager Ballymena ever had.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Jim's there now, and Jim didn't manage me.
Yeah.
Alec McKee him and Shea Hamill were a real good too. Fond, Shea Hamill dead and gone, the creator. Alec's dead now. Alec McKee was Jim Hagan was a very good manager, so was Alan Fraser. Now, them three were very, very good. But Alec McKee knew you. He knew your feelings, he knew the type of person you were, and he knew how to treat you.
Okay.
Right? What do I call it? So the first year was a roller coaster, going to Anderlecht, won the Irish Cup, getting a suit, heading away, going to Europe, madness. I've never seen nothing like it. For a boy, the boy was never on a train before till it came to Ballymena. Oh my God, it was just a real roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then the second year, the season started off, and then I think the second year was the year I got the really bad tackle. It put me out for a full year.
Right.
And then, or maybe even in the third year, I'm not sure. But what happened was the roller coaster with Ballymena was getting rid of their managers.
Okay. So there was no sort of...
I think I played under 8 or 9 managers at Ballymena.
In
11 years, maybe 8 managers, not a man. It was mad.
There's no consistency.
No consistency at all.
Yeah.
And then I think they panicked, no disrespect to the players, they panicked and got players on after we won the Irish Cup, and they brought a couple of players on. They brought Davy Smith on, which was an excellent player. I thought he was a good player. Tom Sloan, I think it was John Sloan or Tom Sloan, came from Larne, and I don't think he really had it off with us, to be honest with you. And then they brought on a couple of other ones that I didn't think. I think it upset the balance of the side.
Yeah.
And the way that I thought when I played for Ballymena, right, there might have been a couple of what we call gifted boys, but the rest of them would have been a row. That's the boys you wanted to be in a row. They were going to be there 110%.
More so the dogs. They'll go and do the dirty work.
And give it to her.
Yeah.
It might not have been all technically good, but one thing is they would all ran through the wall for you and they all played for the shirt. And then they made a win of changes. And then I just think then it was a wee Rocky parade. And then Alec lost his job. And Shane, and they brought on somebody else. And I didn't think it was working out. And then the man says I just kept my head down. All I want to do is play football.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, no matter how good you are or no matter how good you think you are, you will do your time on the bench.
Yeah. Oh, everyone does it.
Everybody does it. No matter.
Everyone goes through a spell where
yes,
they've got no confidence, something just happens, they don't agree with certain things.
Yes.
And it's a subject of life. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And then I always say, on my way of looking at that, like guys, I played right back a couple of times. You know what I mean? No, and then I was played centre forward. Certain games I played centre forward, but I always wanted to be on the right side of midfield. Like that was my position. And I always worked hard. But then there's some managers thought, Alec McKee used to always say, this is what Alec McKee used to always talk to me. He said, if you cross that halfway lane, I'll kick your arse. He says, you cross that halfway lane, I'll kick your arse. He says, you get the ball, you take him on, you beat him.
Yeah.
Right. There are no natural wingers no more in Irish League football. I don't care. Anybody says there's no natural wingers.
I agree with
no natural wingers. See when I get the ball and get turned. I had one goal in my life was to beat that defender. I'd get the ball into the box, and if Paul Hardy or Billy Piper wasn't the box, that was their problem, not mine. I put the ball into the danger area. Now, people might say that's old school football.
But I've spoke about this quite a few times over the last couple of weeks, and it's probably creeping back in.
Yes.
More so now than it was over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
And I understand with this whole Pep Guardiola thing.
He ruined football.
They want to do certain things and pass the ball 100 times and do X, Y, and Z. Fair enough.
Mm.
The Irish League's not built for it.
No.
So
Irish League's not built for it. The pitches are not built for it. No disrespect to the players. The players are not built for it. And my view of it is, see these boys, say my view, right? And I know my view could be totally wrong. You might put a vest on you, tell how many miles you run.
Yeah.
A fucking greyhound can run, but he can't play football.
Yeah.
No, that's my view of it. No, you can run all day.
Yeah.
You can run all day. Go and tell me many shots he had in goal. Go and tell me how many times he beats his man. Go and tell me how many dangerous balls he put in the box. Don't tell me he ran 8 miles.
But I think whenever you're talking like that, football was very simple back in the day.
Yes.
Because you had a certain job to do, as you've pointed out there.
Yes.
Your job was you beat your man, you put the ball in the box.
Yes.
It's not cut inside and play 1-2s and do stupid stuff. That's your job, and that's it. That's a simple thing, especially as a centre forward. If I know that that's going to happen to me 9 out of 10 times, the only position I'm going to be is right there. I'm not going to be running back to do certain things. I'm not going to be going off on the wing or sides or trying to play a 1-2. I'm going, if I know he's going to beat him, I just need to stand right there.
Stand there.
Whereas now it's different. I think that it's very complicated and people want to do systems and stuff. I prefer it. I've mentioned this the last couple of weeks that I like the old school style. The 4-4-2 and 3 boys up front. And there's a big man, a small man, or 2 lumps. I love that.
Aye. Well, I always think, my view is, like, I scored 100 and something goals.
Scored 112 goals
from there.
For Ballymena.
From right side of midfield.
Which is incredible.
Well,
I think that's more than I have.
No, what I mean. For low, which is sake. I know. and you're playing. I'm going to blow my own. And you're playing on better pitches, and you have a lighter ball,
Aye, dead on.
right?
These were shaped back then.
Right. And you're playing with a lighter ball, and you're playing on better pitches, and what I called. And my view of it is, if I was going to score 112 goals from right side of midfield, the way we played, see if I was playing centre forward nowadays, I would absolutely pull whatever hair I have out.
Yeah.
I watch, like, even though I'm taking photographs game, I watch the centre forwards. Like, I watch Fitzpatrick for Linfield, right? No, and I think he's a good player, and he is such a hard worker for Linfield. He's making runs, not getting it, making runs, not getting it, making runs, not getting it, making runs, not. I would have choked you to death if I was playing the wing.
No, it's I think it's the hardest position to play right now. Well, especially in this league because of the way we're set up.
Aye.
I mean, when we first started at Ballymena, my career kind of went that way because I kind of knew that my job was to run that channel or stay in the box.
Yeah.
And I knew that somebody was putting the ball on.
Aye.
And that's very simple. I think I'm probably not the smartest character in the whole place, like, but I mean, if I know that one or two things are going to happen, it kind of takes away the thinking out of it, and you just go and do it. Whereas I get what you're saying.
Simple,
especially whenever Linfield had the likes of Kirk Miller who can put the ball in
the box.
Anybody's.
And they had Joe Cooper in that wing, and they can put the ball in the box. Get the ball in the box. You know what I mean? Like, they're the perfect example. Glenn Ferguson. Glenn Ferguson, get the ball in the box. When he goes scored, ball in the box.
500.
Van Erkens, ball in the box.
But then again, it has to come to it where the likes of the wingers like yourselves who have pace, could do these things, had their own wee tricks, which we'll talk to you about your wee dummies and your wee force.
But there is good players. Like, I still see players. The league's full of good wingers, but they're getting choked.
Yeah.
And my biggest frustration is when they get right down. And that's when I'm chatting with Ballymena. Most of my managers done that. The only boy that did the structure a bit different and brought on a whole new structure to us was Jim Hagan.
Okay.
And he was excellent. He was really, really good. Now, I like Jim Hagan's a gentleman, and Alan Fraser tweaked things a bit different from the old school. But Jim Hagan brought on a Noel. He tried to bring on a diet, and the painting days was over, and all that, you know. And he brought on the warm up.
Okay.
Oh, the warm up was no. I used to come out. I used to come out in my socks around my ankles and walk across the field. Do you want to keep you up? He took a couple of shots. Do you see if I took a couple of shots and everything felt good, I knew he was going to have a good game.
Yeah.
But then if he took a couple of shots and they were all over the place and you were adjusting your socks and the sock wasn't right, you're taking it off, putting it back on again.
These boots,
probably put the boots on back to the front. But then you were probably had it in your head, oh, I'm not feeling the best today, I don't know. And then that's went into your game where Jim Hagan and Fraser brought this mentality, be the best, be this, and Hagan was very good at that, and different way of managing, you know.
When you look over the career you've had at Ballymena those 10 to 12 years, which managers do you feel got the best out of you, and why do you feel that they got the best out of you?
Well, I knew who got the worst out of me. It was Tommy Jackson.
Okay.
He'd say,
I was trying to be positive about this.
No.
Tell me you were shite.
Tommy was like, he had the Glens, you know. And I think because the expectation of when you manage the Glens, and you're one line, and then you come to Ballymena, it's a whole different ball of player. Yeah. And you have to try and get the best out of players. And I didn't think he managed us well, as personally. And I'm not slagging the man in any way. I just didn't think he fitted he didn't last long, but I didn't think he fitted our structure. Ali McKee was easy, and Fraser and what I called were the best easy. We had Gary Irwin and Alec Donald was there, and like, I'll give an example. Our training with Alec, and Alec's a good man. Our training with Alec was you put a cone in one 18-yard box and a cone in another 18-yard box, and you just ran you dropped. And then you couldn't pass the ball from A to B. No, like, nobody could pass the ball, but you could run, as I say, you could run like a greyhound.
Yeah.
No, like, fitness doesn't breed players, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody had their own wee twist, and everybody had their own way of doing things, but Ali McKee understood people, and I think that was the difference.
See, I think that the amount of people I've had on, and the amount of people that I've shared a change room with in terms of management, those people who have the ability to understand the player more than the tactics. Not wouldn't say that they're poor tactically.
No.
But they care about the person.
Yes.
I don't know why that's me. I responded better to that throughout my career, but it just seems like the man management side is more so the winning side of it than it is.
I know the manager's under serious pressure. Man, listen, the money going out of clubs now is extortionate.
Yeah.
And like I want to say for Ballymena even, like, and the you have to win now. Them people paying their £10 or £15 a Saturday. No, like the whole team can play shite, right? But if they won 1-0, everybody's way happy. Even though the team has played absolutely shit, like I'm at every single Irish League game all year, and there are times I'm sitting in the back of camera, lost in the world they love, going, this cannot be this bad. Like, no, this is not football. This is not football how I know it.
Yeah.
And then you're just listening to some of the managers shouting out tactics, and I'm going, well, I can see that fullback's getting raped down that lane every time by somebody, get somewhere across. And it's just, so it's managers under a lot of pressure, but I still think in my heart now, right? And it's just been the breed of football earlier was better and early.
I think that football's changed quite a bit.
Yes.
I'm kind of happy that I kind of caught the end of what was allowed to be sort of more senior football.
Yes.
Not a more, I was trying to say senior football, but I mean a more physical type of football.
Yes.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed the physical side.
People
really
me and kicking me, I didn't mind giving it out and I'd take whatever was dealt with me. But at the same time, now is very different. It causes problems. I think that you don't know what's a clear line between a tackle and the foul and this, and I think that's a big thing for referees.
On our day, the first one was free. Doesn't matter if he kicked you if he kicked you around the throat, it was free. Like, that was free. Like, oh, geez, there was some brutality in our day. Like, it was what? It's better thinking about like some of the challenges you got, or sometimes you skip it away.
Yeah. Well, speaking of challenges, you had a rough one yourself.
Oh, Alfie.
Talk to me.
And the best chap in the world too, but.
Technically, potentially a career ender.
It was, and I have to say one thing about that man. After it happened, he wrote me a letter deeply apologising after it happened,
Right.
But it's, in my eyes, it was the worst tackle in history. He was at lit. John Frey never even booked him, for God's sake. John Frey, the ball was that gone that far, like it was that bad. I've came in the end of a couple of right ramp ones now, and well, like you went to Crusaders, right, and you had Barry Hunter, and you had Stephen Stewart and animals, like really hard men, Glenn Dunlop, but then big physical strong sides, and then I was no height or no weight, but I dished it out as much as I could,
Yeah.
Then you went up to Linfield and Alan Dornan and them boys too, and they had a very strong side, and then you went down to Coleraine, you had Murray Tab,
Yeah.
and Roy McCready and all them boys, and you went up to Glens and Ballycasky, Barney Burrs, Jim Cleary, I don't think you ever seen him playing. Oh my God, what a player with a left foot, just graced the football field. And John Devine in his prime, and boys, and then you went up to the Blues and Big Davy, they kicked his own grandmother, they kicked his own grandmother before he got her out of the tunnel, and you had Jeff Spears and boys like that. The football was so physical, it was unreal. It was, and then the pitches were into the bollocks, as you can say. Ballymena was sure rain, the pitch was onto over the ankle. Even down to Ballyclare, and the pitch was this depth and muck, and the ball was a ton weight.
You're trying to say to me that it was better back then?
I was, but because of the reason why it was better back then. There were bigger crowds because there were nothing to do, and everybody went to watch football. It was either football or rugby in the winter time.
Yeah.
Bigger crowds, more exciting, stacks of goals, and plenty of good rows.
Yeah.
There were plenty of rows, I'll tell you, like even in our day. I come into the dressing one time and Phil Byrne, God rest his soul, him and Tommy Jackson were wrestling through the floor at half time. And at half time because, it was mad, it was mad. You know what I mean?
Do you think that that's one thing that's kind of coming back now in terms of the crowds, the sizes and different things like that? Do you think that the league's slowly going back to where it is? But do you think it's ever going to get to the stage where the crowds are just the way it was?
Well, I would say, I don't know, Johnny. I look at Ballymena sometimes, and I love Ballymena. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's my hometown club. I look at Ballymena sometimes. You look on that stand, and it's deceiving. They read out there's 1,020 people in the stand, but if you look across the stand, you think there are 200 on it. You know what I mean? Or if you go down to Larne, and there seemed to be nobody there at all. It's hard to say. I think there are too many distractions now to get the crowds back. The crowds will come back at the start of the season. Now, Coleraine Korean had right crowds all year, you know, when they seem to have right crowds all year.
Also depends on how the club's going. A lot of people are so much following the crowd.
Yes.
Cliftonville was one of those ones I was finding. I think Cliftonville was going well. The place
Massive crowds.
incredible.
Incredible.
Fans come out everywhere. And the place is like, it's haven.
Oh, it's good atmosphere on there.
Crazy.
It's good.
And when they're not, then it just drops
off. And then I think too, well, if you look at Larne's a full-time side, they look at the crowd across the side, I'm saying to myself, God, how's that sustainable? You know what I mean? And no, that's no disrespect to Larne.
No, but that's the
no. How's it sustainable? You know, and then you get out at Cliftonville. I have yet to see a poor crowd at Cliftonville.
Yeah.
Now they're always the cracks 90 there too. Like, listen, you just could sit and laugh all day. Some of the things they shouted, along the sidelines, great laugh. Like, and even Ballymena, like you sitting sometimes. I think Ballymena, the way the stadium is built now, kills the atmosphere. The atmosphere is not the way it was. You know what I mean? Because they're a big running track and everything.
I kind of wanted to be closer.
You want to be
like
closer. You want to be on top of people. You know what I mean? You want to be right on there, you know, and able to touch them. Like Institute's football ground was unbelievable. The atmosphere, because you're nice and close, you know, and Glenavon, you're brave and close, and some of the grounds.
Because the wall literally
just right and you're right on there. The oval, the same wide, big. No,
you've got even the old day where they had the dugouts to the other side. So the dugouts were 10 yards back, and then you were back again.
Well, if you look, I think the oval's only ground with a fence up.
Yeah.
No, why do you need a fence up in this day and age?
Yeah.
You know, but I would like to see the crowds coming back, but they just need to watch they don't price themselves out of football.
Yeah.
You know,
well, as you say, there's talking points too. Like, people are going full time. Fans aren't really filling the stadiums the way it should be to keep the place full time.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? If you're going to try and go the whole way, you kind of need the 6,000 and 7,000 people to be there every week to be able to cover wages and do that sort of thing.
I think I have my own views about Irish League. Right? I've been Irish League football really all my life. If you think about it, first of all, I think they need to get the stadiums up and running properly. You know what I mean? So, like, to get people to go to a public toilet, at the ground, decent. The floodlights in 95% of the grounds are shit.
Yeah,
absolute crap. I only can say it from a photographing perspective. No, like you're looking.
My HD camera's not.
No, you're
this person's face.
You're sitting there. You know, the lights are. It only has about 4 grounds. The lights are decent, in the whole league. You know, like Cliftonville's great atmosphere stand needs a revamp. The oval needs a revamp. Ballymena needs a stand closed down at either end. To make it into a really compact, nice ground. Korean needs a revamp. Like, all this money needs to be put on to make it. So this is my view, right? Say, like, you have a kid now, or whatever kids know, what would make you want to come and sit at some Irish League grounds? And you couldn't even go to the toilet in some of them.
Yeah.
You know, Ballymena's not so bad because the big stand, the toilets and everything, the infrastructure is clean on it. But I could take you to grounds and you wouldn't go to the toilet at all. I'm thinking of ladies and people like that, you know, and you wouldn't go to them, you know. And the whole thing needs needs a lot of investment.
But it's a lot of investment to put in for potentially not the return. Like, are you ever going to see that return, considering that, are the crowds, you're not guaranteeing the crowds to come back?
No, but then if you take it, I'm at it now 30 years nearly, that cycle. So 30 years time of the investment was there in the football, and you're able to go with people's talking about summer football. I think they should give summer football a go.
Yeah, try it out.
Stand on a t-shirt and watch the match.
The only thing I wouldn't like about that is my summer holidays. And I like to go away on my summer holidays. But here, I won't be playing.
You're not playing, so...
Doesn't bar what I said.
Sure, listen, the League Island, doesn't the League Island close down for a fortnight? Listen.
They do. They go away. No, but they go... they get a week off, and then I think it's the same sort of... Christmas time, just changing the holidays.
And I know people say, about merchant season and stuff. No, that's not affecting football. Have the games on Friday night. Have the game on a Thursday night before the 12th weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know then people's going to say, well, what do we do all winter? You know.
Well, it'll be a big test here, I think. Linfield are going to play Shelburne. And it's going to be a battle of two teams. Both playing. Linfield are only back for pre-season. Shelburne are 22 games in. And I know they just lost Damien Duffler, but at the same time, they're going to be a fit team. He just won the league last year. He obviously aren't doing as well this year, but no, it's going to be a big test for them.
It'll be good because Shamrock Rovers come up and actually embarrassed Larne. Like, the gulf was massive.
Yeah.
So I think this game will be a lot tighter.
This will be interesting too.
Because Shelburne's not as good as Shamrock Rovers.
Well, not this year, but last year.
last year.
On people, you know what I mean? So,
But I just like I've seen Shamrock Rovers on not a bad side. I watched the League of Ireland every Friday night, and some of the games on there.
do
But
you know what? I've started to.
aye,
Took a lot of games and tried to watch a lot of games.
some of them games is abysmal too. It's just there's no attacking flair is not there. It's just the best winger in the league was destroyed. Like Duffy, I thought just passing crap. You know what I mean? But it's only an opinion.
Mickey's got a lot of ability, doesn't he?
Oh, good player, good lad,
Good player.
You know what I mean?
But listen, I don't want to go off topic. I want to stick to where we are. You
Right.
kind of get through your career. You've played your first season at Ballymena was you kind of signed late on randomly. You get your first start, you get your first goal, you get into the Irish Cup final, you win it, you play in Europe. Is it sort of downhill from there
No.
in terms of trophies and stuff?
Oh well, everybody wants to. What was a quote I always says once? Everybody always wants to win trophies, right? We got relegated one year, right? We got relegated into the first division. Then we come back, we won the first division, come back up, Nobody wants to be relegated. No, nobody, no matter what standard of football you want to play at. The injuries, a couple of real bad injuries, right? And they get you in a downer, right? Even now the full season that I missed with the bad tackle, I was at every single game.
Yeah.
I never missed. No, I was at every game. I sat up in the stand. You know what I mean? Sat in the dugouts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that always kept me involved. But my goal was to get back fitter. Now, we got beat in the semi-final. I think I must have penalty in the semi-final in the Irish Cup. I think it passed me in the crossbar, hit the crossbar and passed me on the way back like a bullet. I had it that hard, but I didn't feel that bad because somebody had missed one before me. So it was his fault. You know what I mean? He missed the first one.
He put the pressure.
We done that, and then I have to be really honest, sir. I loved coming up here and playing football every single day. Now, see, if I've been on the bench, there's no sense of me telling lies about it. If I've been on the bench, I used to sit on the bench. See, nowadays, you have to sit for a hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're told to go and warm up. I don't know if that happens now. You're told to go and warm up, right? I used to sit on the bench and I go, hey, I'm away to warm up. See, when I come back, get him off. The he's having a nightmare. I said, I'm telling you. I says, I'm coming back up and I'm going to warm up. And I used to warm up in front of the manager, stretching on, go, are you going to get me on here?
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
Trying to make the decision for you.
Get me on.
Yeah.
I'll score here. Put me on, for God's sake. And 9 times out of 10, you used to, like some of the managers says, right, get effing dressed and get out of my hair. No, so you get stripped and then you get on. Then you get on, you were shit. And I was unreal. That's the way I used to be. And I just loved playing. I didn't care. Like, okay, you don't want to be beat. You don't want to be winning games. But, hey, listen, I'm doing something I love and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I looked at it. And I didn't mind, and every game I wanted, they won every single match. And your career goes up and down, up and down. I think I've an Irish Cup medal. I gave an Irish Cup medal away to a fella, a die-hard supporter, Mick his day. And of the first division medal, I gave to a ball boy. Runners up, I think, medal somewhere, I gave it to a ball boy. And I have no medals in the house at all, none.
Right.
And I've hundreds of trophies for playing summer cups. And you know what I did? Hey, you know what I did, right? There's nothing in my house to even prove that I played football. My wife kept a scrapbook, right? And she has it up in the cupboard. She kept a scrapbook of everything. And every single medal and trophy, I have trophies for running and doing everything. I took all the labels off them and gave them to a special care school. Right, I swear to God. We have a special care school in Limavady called Rossmar Special Care School. And I went down with, I'm not joking you, big crystal balls and everything. I'd won for Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year and all that and everything. And the school brought me back to give the trophies out to the special needs wings. And sir, what I tell you is, this puts it into perspective. I was given a trophy this height here, right? It was a big, massive trophy I got for something. For some wee girl for throwing a bin bag. Right? You see, and you put it into perspective. That meant more to me than winning that damn trophy.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I am. And I give my Irish Cup medal away. I give it to a fella called Davy McKaig, a good lad, die-hard supporter, absolutely eats, sleeps and breathes Ballymena.
Yeah.
And he has it up on his wall. And the way I look at it is, it wasn't a drawer in my cupboard. I had to go and look for it.
Yeah. It wasn't like it was
It didn't
put out somewhere.
and see if I had won 10 Irish Cups, them medals would have been in a drawer I'd have had I went looking for it.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. So see the friends that I have here and all the people I know and all the bit of crack and coming back and people still come and speak to you and all that is better to me and that there. And see all the memories. I always say all the memories you have is better than medals. Because I can mine every single game.
Yeah.
I know it may be sad that, but I can mine every single game I played.
If you're saying this about Ballymena, it sounds like you love the club.
Oh.
But you're saying for Coleraine.
Oh, worst move ever.
Oh, I love the club. I'm going to go to the rivals.
I wasn't going to the rivals. You have to thank Murray Quinn for that, right? Because that was. I have to put this all into perspective to kill the
yes, let everyone.
Because a boy wrote up on that Irish League banter site, "You sold your soul." For money, and the money was good. I have to admit now. You know what I mean? Like I can't complain. But 10 years here, twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, never missed. I think I missed a handful of times in training since I've been here because it's like doing your job.
Yeah, sometimes you just
dedicated, but that's the way I am. Doesn't matter if I was injured, I was here. I was actually tired, right? And then Nigel Bass come on to somebody get the sack, and he come in the summertime.
Okay,
right. And no disrespect to Nigel Bass because he is a real good man. I spoke to Nigel Bass. I was out of contract and I spoke to Nigel Bass and I just spoke to Nigel Bass and I looked at him and I went, I'm quitting football. Right?
Just that quick, just that one conversation. That fella put you off football or you were
I just went, that's me, I'm finished.
Right? What was the conversation like?
I felt as if, I don't even know what it is. I felt as if he was a school teacher and I was a pupil.
Just telling you,
just. And I just looked and I went, I'm not stealing a living.
Yeah.
And that's the way I looked at it. I said, I'm not stealing a living here.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home to the wife and I says, I'm going. And she nearly was in shock. And I says, I'm going. I says, I'm going to go. So then I got out there and I wasn't saying. And then, the phone was
floodgates open.
Well, not trying to make myself important or good for it. I could have went anywhere. And spoke to Big Davy, and times he was at Linfield, and spoke to Sligo Rovers, and then had 2 or 3 clubs from down south. And had Ronnie McFall. Oh my God, I think Ronnie would have given me an airplane if I wanted it. And that's as honest with you. And
there would have been a good brown envelope.
I could have went there, and I probably would have signed for Portadown. Only there was an incident down in Portadown. Like was something happened in the time of troubles and things and all. Something happened down near the club.
Okay,
and it wasn't and. Nothing to do with Portadown now, nothing whatsoever. I don't want to be no solicitor at the door, but there's something happened down there, and I sort of my wife says, "It only takes one gulping," and then he says, "No," and then she was sort of a bit feared, and then I says, "No, it's all right, no." So I wangled about a bit and all, and then I met a funny thing is I met Murray Quinn, right? I met Murray Quinn in the car. Up at the flats, up at Belfast on the roundabout.
Okay.
Murray was promising me the world. Oh, Jesus. Everything was going to be there and coming and saying for us and all that. And I was so close to being saying for Cliftonville. Then Murray f***ed off. He went somewhere else. So I just says, what I'll do is I'll go to Korean and I says, I'll not be like that. I says, I'm going to stab the Ballymena boys in the back here. Going to your rivals, and then I went to Korean, and then I give 100%, but I have to be honest with you, like it.
You weren't doing it?
Nah, hated every fucking day of it. Do you want the truth? Hated every day, and it's not the people, or not the. And I played in the final for Korean, and I did my best for them, and I scored a lot of goals for them. I'm just being honest with you, and you just know the way. It's just like going to your job or work and you don't like it.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. And then I picked up a couple of injuries. Then I picked up a double hernia operation. Then I got that done. And then the Korean looked after me really well. But nah, just...
Your heart wasn't it?
Nah, I did. Then I just retired. Then I retired then at 30. I had a 2-year contract and seen the first year out. And then the second year I was plagued with injuries. then I just says, no, that's me. I scored my last game. I scored against Distillery and then quit.
Did you think it was going to come that quick? Quitting? Not quitting. I wouldn't say you quit.
I think I would have quit at 30.
After Ballymena, you would.
I should have. See, to be honest with you, in hindsight, I should have quit at 30.
Right.
That's been honest with you.
But for someone who scores so many goals, as you say, from right wing, and it was one conversation that you had with Nigel.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have went anywhere.
Aye.
30's young.
Aye.
I'm saying this now. I'm 30, but I don't have a way. But I'm saying,
if I even give you an increment, but Sligo Rovers offered me to go down there, it was absolutely amazing. It was mental money. Absolutely mental money.
and they would have been more full time then.
Aye. And I just then I decided to go there to Korean, and no disrespect for it, I spoke to Kenny Shields, who was the manager at the time, and spoke to Kenny, and I went there, and then Kenny got the sack after 2 weeks. Murray come on. I said to him, yeah, you were going to say me with Cliftonville then, know what I mean? But to be honest with you, I think I wasn't going to Belfast direction because I was tired of travelling.
Yeah.
So I was defeating the purpose. And then Sligo was far worse because we actually went down to Sligo and took a look and we timed it. No, they were going to let me train with Derry City, and then
Drive down one night a week.
And then drive down the Saturday. And then Anne-Marie says to me, "Are you prepared to head to Cork on a Friday night?"
Yeah. From where you are,
from where I
am,
to Cork, and are you prepared to go down there on a Saturday night for a night match at 8 o'clock, and then not be back home to 1 o'clock in the morning, and then be down there for, you're back. She says your back's actually worth, which is all money in the world, not worth happiness.
Yeah, true.
So, and then I know it's saying, but it wasn't. I never really played for money.
Yeah.
Because sure, I'll tell you the way the relationship I had with Ballymena, right? I think everybody knows it. But the committee used to come on and say to me, Norman McBurney and me Norman McBurney is a dope. Norman McBurney is the best man on this planet.
Yeah, he's an
incredible man. Norman McBurney should have been Sir Norman McBurney.
Should be.
Yeah, right.
Statue.
Listen, I love the man to bits. Me and him was really good friends, and I can't think a word about it. I see Norman McBurney like a father figure, right? You know what I mean? Because he was so good to me when I had nothing. When I had nothing, I mean nothing. I know what it's like to have nothing.
Yeah.
And Norman McBurney is the best ever. And Norman used to come in to me and goes, "Your contract's up next week," or some of the manager goes, "Your contract's up." And I says, "That's all right, aye." He says, "You look at much more money." And I says, "Well, what do you want to give me?" And that was the conversation. That was it.
Yeah.
Now I used to get in there and sign the form. Then the following week you got your wages and he went, "Cheers, that's all right." I says, I never asked for that.
But then again, that's probably a thing on you to be like, he's not pushing money, he's not demanding money. This is what we think he's done. It's and happy days.
Aye. And then that's the way it was. Then you used to get paid on a Saturday. You go, where'd that come out?
Oh yeah. Good surprise.
That's what after I was there, 6 or 7 years after that. But up to that, it was 40 quid.
Yeah. So that nice jump was a wee cushion.
Oh, it was madness.
Good.
Madness.
But it was deserved then, because somebody sticks around that length of time and scores that many goals. It's repaying what you've got the club. You know what I mean?
Right, I know, and everybody always talks about the goals, right? But this is my view of way. I hope people see me like this at Ballymena, right? See, from when I stepped on the field till I come off, I didn't need a badge to tell me how to run.
Yeah. You just knew
I bought you were going to guts for that shirt, sir.
Yeah.
And many a bad game we have, sir. Listen, no, you're not out there being brilliant every week, but you see if you're bad, even if you have a bad day or an off day, as long as you effing try, as long as you give 100%, don't get...
Especially in Ballymena.
Oh, you have to give 100, because we're not gifted by the Kirk Mullers and all these boys. You have to give 110%.
Yeah.
And that's the way I looked at it. So that's just... So the money wasn't really a thing. I signed for Korean. Korean were really good to me. Listen, the club was perfect and the supporters were good. You're always going to get the odd one, still, like, there's still people calls you names. It's funny, ironic, like even to this day, you still get called names from certain people. But to be honest with you, I should have retired at 30.
It's an interesting decision to potentially do that. But
I should have stopped at 30.
See, if you had stopped at 30, would you have just went into refereeing quicker?
Aye.
Was that always on your mind?
I was qualified when I was that day. I was always qualified then. You know what I mean?
You were always hard set on, I want to do this. It was always in the back of your mind that
I wanted to be the first Irish League player to become an Irish League referee when I joined.
you just wanted the attention.
No, I didn't do much.
Talk to me about the decision to go into that, because the amount of people that we've had on the podcast that have talked so highly about you
Aye.
being a referee,
Yep.
probably more so than being a player,
Yes.
is phenomenal.
Aye. Because no reason why you had respect. And I give players respect. And the thing is, I talk to the players on a Saturday the same way that I would talk to the referee. So it would be, there's a difference between f*** you and f*** off. I'm sorry about cursing.
No, you're fine.
There's a difference between f*** you and f*** off when you're refereeing. Right? And the way it's said to you, there's a difference. Right? So, many of time I've heard players going f*** off.
Yeah.
Right? Many of time I've heard players, they shut his mouth when you're naked, not allowed to talk in the house. No. We always have some class stories, like, we have good laughs. But the difference was, right, some people might say, oh, he wanted to be everybody's friend, right? And he did this. Some people used to say the FA, or not the FA, the Referees Association sometimes was, Dessie's refereeing a game like a player. He's not refereeing like a referee. But sometimes there's the spirit of the game and the spirit of the law. Okay. Sometimes. I'll give an example. I was doing Larne and Cliftonville. I think the game was 2 each. Cliftonville scored in the 93rd minute. Boy, I went ballistic, jumped up in the fence, went mental, took his shirt off, ran back to halfway line. And I come back up the halfway line and I says to him, class. So I said to him, I come in, Cesar rifled me. Should have sent him off because he was red in the yellow. Right? So he should have got a second yellow for taking off his shirt and jumping in the fence. The law states that. And I looked up to Cesar and I said, did you ever score a goal in the 93rd minute? Those are my words to him. Did you ever score a goal in the 93rd minute? Do you know what that feels like? To score a goal in the 93rd minute. And he says, but you didn't apply the law.
Do you think there should be a bit of give and take?
I think the referees are such cutthroat. Until you're on it, you don't realise how much cutthroat it is. Referees, well, they want to be number one. It's like anything. When I refereed, I wanted to be number one. Me and Krangle come into the game together, and me and Krangle come up through the same line, you know what I mean? I probably could have made FIFA the same as Raymond, only my age was there. You know what I mean? I was older, so no, I mean, so they're not going to push on somebody at that age who's only going to get a couple of years out of it. So, my view of it is the referees are between a rock and a hard place. I think the biggest mistake that was ever made in this whole thing was the referees get into the dressing room before the game.
To have the conversation.
No way you have to get not even you. Well, I'm not there to tell you what your tackles. I used to, right. You get into the dressing room before the match, and boys used to take players' boots, and they used to get and have a chat. You know, what kit are you wearing now? Now everybody brings the kit to you, and well, see that conversation then is gone.
Yeah,
that wee bit of camaraderie is gone. Right,
you have that sort of personal touch.
That personal touch is left.
Yeah,
as a case of referees turn out to come out now. You'll get the odd referee speaks to players, but usually they come out and they walk across the field and they check the nets and they down about. And some of the referees we have today, their conversation even with any player is probably minimal.
Yeah.
Right. Where you're down the dressing room, you had a bit of crack, a bit of banter, and somebody slagged you or a bit of laugh, and you talk to them, well, I'll mark that later. I'll take that and you mark that. You had a bit of banter. Yeah. And that all what I saw read what made you like the family thing. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some boys would have said, hey, ref, there are 2 teams out there today. And I used to say, no, there'll be 3. And I said, we'll be the best team. That's for you. No, sometimes boys would have said that to you, know what I mean, when you're on there. Or you give you a bit of stick, and a bit of slagging, so you had a bit of slagging before it. I always thought that broke the ice.
Yeah.
And then, now, so the referees nowadays, they're like so feared they feel.
You feel like they're completely their own entity. It's like referees are against...
Yes.
Everybody's against each other because you're necessarily like, if I'm at Ballymena, I'm against Coleraine, Coleraine's against me, and then you're against the referee and he makes bad decisions, he's against you, but he's against...
That's just some dangerous breach. Like I always say, like we all have our team talks, and everybody should be knowing what they're doing, right? Everybody should be knowing what they're doing. They're all mic'd up now. When I started, there were no such thing as mics. It was just paper flags, and you knew what you're doing. But I was told at times that I talk too much in the field, right? As a referee, I talk too much.
To what, players or
players and stuff? But I talk when I went into referee a game on a Saturday. My view was I always got the centre half, centre forward, and centre midfield players, because them's the three boys you're going to be gearing at the whole match.
Yeah,
them's the three people you're going to be talking to the whole game. Because 9 times out of 10, the first ball played up, and the centre forward will be squealing on the back, on the back, on the back. You know what I mean? No, on the back, ref, on the back. That's all you ever hear. No, on the back, on the back. You know, that's the first 3 or 4 words. Centre midfield will be running around kicking shit or trying to kick lumps out of some of each other, or if they're passing, they're always complaining or whatever. And it's the exact same at the other end. So them 6 players is the 6 players you'll be talking to 95% of the game.
Yeah.
So get the first name, get them on them, thing bits and bobs, and just know. And I always say, if you're going to make a mistake, make a wee one. Don't make a big one.
Yeah.
And I used to always say to my team, give yourself breathing space. So before you blow that whistle, make sure you have that decision right. You know what I mean? I don't think I have to hold up my hand. I made him making a real bollocks one time up at Cook. Cook United was playing somebody, and the boy took a shot, so he hit it like a bullet. And I'm done, hit the stanchion and come back out. No, the hip.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I thought I hit the crossbar. Right? No. So I'm standing right. So he just hit it that hard. And then boy, we were celebrating, and I never blew. And then next thing I was playing on, and the team up with Phil and scored. They were all celebrating, and the team up with Phil and scored.
No way.
Oh shit! Hit the fan. Mayhem. The manager was off. Assistant manager was off. Player off. Oh, and
so you played on, like you let the game run on.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there was no goal.
So everybody's off celebrating. They just bomb up all 10 of them.
Then next thing everybody's on there shouting, and then next thing one boys all sticks in the net. Oh, man. So I'm going. I said, man, you should have give that. But then if I had to give that, then I'm cheating.
But then again, is that another thing? None of your linos have seen that.
I haven't got linesmen. It was on my own.
Just you. Oh, fuck it.
Right. So to the life of me, that ball hit the crossbar. But it hit the stanchion. No, the hoop.
I know where you're on, but yeah.
No, it hit the hoop and come back out. But the thing is, I made that on my own. Didn't make that in
So what do you do at that stage? Like, how do you go? Or do you just be like hands up? What do you do? Or do you go, whistle, done, well done, 1-0?
No, because I didn't see it. You can't give nothing you don't see.
But you let the play go on, so you actually give them their goal.
Because as far as I'm concerned, the ball hit the crossbar.
Sir, that's carnage. No harm.
Carnage. I know, but if you think about it, I've done nothing wrong.
Well, I mean,
no, I didn't.
Open your eyes. See hold on a minute. If I hit one, and I had a free kick and I hit the stance and it bangs back out, I'm coming after you. I think.
But the thing is, you have to understand where I was standing. That ball hit the crossbar.
But then again, is that another thing where you went? You've taken that too quick and you need to take it back.
No, it wasn't a free kick. It was doing open play. The ball was the game was going on. The ball was crossed on. The boy rifled it, and I had seen it going flying out by. As far as I was concerned, it hit the crossbar.
Right.
Like so, I made that mistake. Now that's the worst mistake I ever made, because he ended up banning about 3 people off it. But and technically, if you take it all in perspective, I did nothing wrong, because as far as I'm concerned, there was no goal.
Right.
You played on, and you went on ahead. So that's the way you look at it. So but you don't make that mistake in the Irish League game. You have a linesman or something like that there, so somebody sees it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully. You know what I mean? But referees are under a bit of pressure now.
They are.
The referees in our league are not bad.
Well, I agree, because I've had Andrew Davey on.
Yes.
I've had multiple people talk about referees and how they go and how they hated referees and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the referees are okay.
The referee's not bad.
But from my perspective, as you say, everybody spends their time on the sideline and does their due diligence that way. I don't think they work as a team. Well, and I think it's very self-centered. Those linesmen don't do as much as they should do.
Oh, I agree with you. I would like to see line, but see, then you don't understand. See, me as a referee, and I used to tell my linesmen what I wanted from them.
But even if you've told your linesman, right, and you think and you go, you're playing on there, and he sees that's offside or whatever.
You see,
has to give
but that's FIFA. That's the rules of the game, right? I'll tell you a couple of things I'd like to see changed. See if you're offside, put the flag up
straight away.
straight away.
None of this carry.
No, that's shit. I'll tell you the reason why. The perfect example of that was I was Derry City match.
Okay.
And boys offside. I mean, a country mile. Everybody in the ground knew he was offside. Linesman kept his flag down. T was coming up to touch the ball. The keeper came out and cut him in half. Right? Absolutely cut him in half. Right? Centre forward was stitched off. Right? See if the linesman put up his flag and the referee blows the whistle, that doesn't happen.
But then again, is this another thing where what happens if everybody stops? So somebody plays on, he runs through, and then he realises I'm offside. Everybody stops thinking that's it, done. The other centre forward runs in, slips in it.
Yes.
That's a problem.
I know. So you see, once that centre forward started going for the ball, he was active. So that left him then, and he was interfering with play, so flag up. But this boy was off a mile, like, not even close, Johnny. Like, you know, everybody, like Blaine Manston was off.
Yeah.
And the centre forward was stitched off because of put that effing flag up. You know what I mean? I know that like you see it on TV, and it's all to do with VAR, but we haven't got VAR.
No,
right?
Probably never will.
No, hope
part of the European game. As we spoke, but I think Andrew.
So if we're not going to work with VAR, get the flag up.
Yeah,
get the flag up. No, because it stops that. No, like the thing is, imagine you playing today, right, and you were offside, and the linesman knows you're offside, but you think you're onside, and you run through, and the defender comes out and wrecks your knee.
Yeah.
If the linesman put up the flag, all that bang, 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 bang doesn't happen.
All right, that series of
Yes,
events.
that series of events doesn't happen. And plus we haven't the VAR. So while with, just put it up.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the things I'd like to change. But our boys are not too bad. I've seen good refereeing. I've seen poor refereeing. I've seen poor linesman, poor lines, people. But the thing is, you're not allowed to express your opinion because you express your opinion as a manager, then you're fined. Club fined.
Absolutely.
Where I think you should be a wee bit more transparency in the whole thing.
Then again, I think a lot of managers do go a bit over the top.
Oh, listen, but then
frustrations like they I mean, that's their job. Do you know what I mean? Like their livelihoods on that, they're being paid.
There's always a group of believe you pay your money, you shoot what you want.
Well, most people do anyway.
And then everybody along the sideline's a better referee than the boy in the middle.
100%.
You know, I'm not saying every wicked referee day was perfect. But the thing is, I never really had any controversy apart from that, and that was in a junior league game.
Well, I'm not going to touch on this and blow smoke up your backside too much more. A lot of people have said a lot of good things about your refereeing, and the one thing that's probably coming back to me is, I think that they probably had more respect for you.
Yes.
That you played the game.
Yes.
You'd understood the game probably from their perspective more than you've been in there with no knowledge. You went through the training, you've read the books, and then you're blessed on pointing. Do you think that that's the best way to go forward?
But see, the problem was you see, I still think that what they should do is, you see, the teams. We spoke about this before. I think every player should be made to do the referee's course as a training thing.
Well, I don't mind actually.
Well, I think they should do it because if you have to do the referee's course, you do it for your coaching badges, don't you?
I think I done mine before. I done mine when I was about 18.
Well, I think a player should be all on. Like, there's plenty of time to invest money in this game.
Yeah.
So all players should be in, and this should be, players should get, because there's some players don't know the laws of the game.
No. But I have to say this and be completely honest. I got that referee badge at 18, and I didn't give a flying hoot about it for 12 years.
No.
And I've done everything bar probably the exact opposite to what
I
think.
So, a question now, I'm going to the interviewer near you, right? Do you see now, if you were 27 and you'd done your referee's course as a player, do you see you playing the game at 27 or 28 or 25, if you were then, would you see the tackles now slightly different because you know the laws of the game slightly better?
100%. And the reason why I would agree with that is because once you start doing your B license, your A license, you start thinking the exact same about the game, but from a tactics point of view.
So that's why I think for the value of, say, one night a week for 4 weeks, the player should do the referees.
It's not
even a course, even a bit of.
I don't even think it's that long.
No,
is it? I think
no. But the thing is, even they've done a couple of nights, then no, just to give them through. Because I found, see, when I was a referee qualified when I was playing.
Yeah.
I used to always say to the referees, because some referees in them days might not have used the laws. And I see myself, I know it could be the back line, I would chirping them, oh, you're wrong here.
I had to just went to get
Well, that's what I usually do when I was playing. No, I mean, no, but you always had a wee chirp in his ear. Is that an under free kick? No, or ref, no, I mean. But I think what helped me as well with playing as well is, you know when somebody's going for the ball and you know when somebody's going for the man.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Right. And I think the biggest problem in our football at the minute is what we call, you'll see somebody winning the ball, what a tackle, and then the referee don't give a free kick because it's called excessive force.
Yeah, I hate that. That's
right. See, my view, excessive force should not be allowed to be used in football.
Right.
That's my view of it. Because the way I look at it is, when I was playing football, I was 7 stone. David Jeffrey was probably 14 stone, but like a brick shit house. So if David Jeffries, if he wants to win the ball, does he have to tap it off me? Is he not allowed to tackle you hard then? Is that the way it is? Does he have to watch the way he tackles me? Because he's not allowed to win that ball with authority.
No, I think it's the complete opposite. I think you should be allowed to go full tilt.
Full tilt.
Absolutely.
Listen, if you won that ball, you should be allowed to go full tilt.
Yeah.
As long as you don't lead with a trailing leg and catch a man away or put the straight up. My view is excessive force shouldn't come into it.
No. And that's the thing too. It's one of those things back in the day. If you went in and you went in half-hearted, the only part getting hurt out of it was
the boys hurt.
Oh.
So I seen a match earlier on this year, and what a tackle! It was one of the best tackles I seen all year. I can't imagine. I think it might have been Cliftonville Glenavon was an unbelievable challenge. The referee blew it up for excessive force, and everybody went apeshit.
Yeah.
Even the player ended up getting the yellow card out because he back chatted.
And he won the tackle.
And he won the tackle. And my view of it is, so why should the law be telling you that you have to tackle in between? Because and before you go for that challenge, you read that in your head.
You're fully committed.
You know, so
why did you stop?
Why did I stop? Right. There were a lot of rumours why I stopped, right? So I'll clean this up, right?
Good.
Right, I'll clean this
These are all exclusive.
Right. There's a lot of rumours why I stopped. A lot of rumours was come out at the start that I was getting too popular at the refereeing. The FA didn't want me there, the referee association didn't want me there. I was getting them a bad name and all this here. Right. There are a couple of things made up in my mind in the stopping the refereeing, right? One, the very first thing is my mother took sick. She took cancer, right? So she took cancer, and then my mother, I looked after her all my life. She had a brain hemorrhage when she was young, and I was only, trying to work this out now, my younger brother, who is 8 years younger than me, he was in nappies. So there were I had 4 brothers and sisters, all in nappies. So, and she took a brain hemorrhage, and she lay in the hospital for a year, way back on that age. So I looked after her all my life. I looked after my brothers and sisters, and when I was growing up. So she took bad, and then my father couldn't cope by looking after her with the cancer. So I because I looked after all my life, I couldn't give the same commitment. And what was told to me was, the way it was told to me was, and then we were training in Mazarine Barracks at the time, right? And Mazarine Barracks, no disrespect, is not a place for somebody of my religion to be training.
Okay.
Comes from the dairy side, right? Yes. It's not a place to be training. And I wasn't comfortable training there.
Okay.
No, my view of it is, if I'm stopped along a road and the boy puts something into your car and tells you to drive on there, no. So I wasn't comfortable training there at the time. My mother took sick, and then I just says that I couldn't give the commitment to do that. I says, I'll train on my own, because we were training to polar heart watches at the time. These things.
Yeah.
We were training to these, and I says, I can't go to training there and looking after my mother. But so we were sort of told, kindly told, if you can't give the commitment,
you have to step away.
You have to step away from it. So I says, that's all right, I'll just step away from it. And I just stepped away. I was fit. No, see, the fitness test was a fucking doddle, because I was still fit then.
Yeah.
And so I just said to the missus, listen, if I'm not going to give the commitment, I'm not going to do it. So that was one reason why I stepped away. And then there was an incident happening at a game, a referee in a game, and the way it works was, right, an assessor come to a match, and he assesses you during the game. And if you got, in them days, it was if you got a 7.9 above, then you got an Irish League game the following. So if you drop below 7.9, so you want to be up in the 8s all the time. So if you got an 8 and 8 and 8 and 8, you're always refereeing. So, and then you done sort of 3 weeks, then a week fourth official, and then you done 3 weeks and a week fourth official. But as a game, the boy, the Holocaust, absolute disaster. Like, that's just been honest with you. No, to be honest with you, I'd have brought him out. An absolute nightmare, like, sent off the wrong man. You might have even been playing. Sent off the wrong man. Roy Walker actually broke the fourth official board, throwing the ball down, and I was fourth official at the time. And I had told the player, you have the wrong man sent off, you have the wrong man sent off, and didn't heed, and then ended up, he went then, and we went to he got a 8.2.
Right.
Right. So, do you see if you make a clear and obvious mistake? I don't know if it's changed now. If you make a clear and obvious mistake in the first minute, you can't get any higher than 7.9. That's the way it used to be. So if you make a mistake in the first minute, it doesn't matter how well you referee a game. If you give 14 penalties and you get everything right and everything, you've made one mistake, brings you down.
Okay.
Right. So I just said to myself, right, that's a bit strange. And then I just thought then there was an agenda then, and then and I'll give you the perfect example. I was refereeing Glenavon and Portadown. This really made up my mind. I was refereeing Glenavon and Portadown, and it was the funniest story ever, sir, ever. We were driving down, night match, Glenavon Portadown the Derby. Ronnie McFall was managing Portadown, kind of the manager of Glenavon at the time. And they were all slabbering all week about this match, right? And the papers and everything. And then we were driving down the road, and I had a fella, Davy Walker, with me from Ballymena. It was his, and Dennis, what I called, and Malcolm Boyd was with me. My two dairymen as side officials, and Davy Walker was his first official ever at an Irish League game in a Derby down there. Wet, pushing night down in Glenavon. We were driving down the road, and I had bought this sat nav, so we were all great driving down the road. And then there was a what do they call it, a crash in the road. So we come across Cookstown direction, come down that way, right? And there was a crash in the road, so the sat nav diverted us on round. I don't know. We ended up in the middle of nowhere, right? Lost. And if you're ever chatting to them boys, I'll tell you the crack, right? So we're driving down this road in the middle of nowhere. The players were out in the pitch. We were still nowhere there. Everybody thought we weren't turning up. So I threw the sat nav out the window when we were driving. Because the temper was that bad on me. Pulled up to the ground. Boys opened the gates. The match was supposed to start at 8 o'clock. We were there 10 to 8.
Right.
Lashed them. Cesar was there. He was going clean ballistic. Where are you? I says, listen, there's a crash. We were lost. Don't talk to us. And then get changed, come out. Got the match started on time, 8 o'clock.
Right.
What a game. 2 each. Goal in the 89th or 88th minute then. Red cards everywhere. 5 or 6 yellows. And the funniest thing ever, I sent off a player from Portadown, right? And Ronnie McFall is standing roaring into my fourth official's face, right? And Davy Walker had never done it before. And he was sitting like this here, cowed down with his head, hands to his head. And Ronnie's going, roaring like this, roaring into his head, right? And then looks across to me and he's shouting, Dessie, Dessie, Dessie. And I ran over and I went, f up, you baldy. Sorry with the language, right? And I says, that's what I said to him. And I turned and ran back into the field, right? And the match, the match was unbelievable match. Massive crowd, a game at everything, lashing rain, tackles flying on everywhere. And I'm not being big head, sir. I refereed that game unbelievable. Yeah. I played advantage for the goal and everything. I still think when he scored the goal and took the centre, I was still showing advantage. You know what I mean? It kept it out, that run on it. Sorry, buddy. And the match came off the ground, and I think Portadown bit them, and Ronnie goes to me and goes, what do you say to me? He was shouting to me, what do you say to me? What do you say to me? You know what I mean? And I said to Davy Walker, I said, what the hell do you want to tell that man to sit down for? He says, Davy Walker was nearly crying.
Yeah.
They were so mad.
Just not used to it.
I was not used to it, and it was mental. And we come in, and everybody come in, and all the referees were all hugging each other, shaking hand. Everybody was shaking my hand. And everybody was doing a ring, and the assessor come in and says, he says, you were brilliant. He says, but I'm marking you down, you were lit.
Right.
And I says, hey, watch that door doesn't hit you in the arse on the way out now, you get it.
How was you done?
of me done. That was it. And he marked me down for being lit. And I'm not been joking, Johnny. What a game. And I was so proud of myself. So proud of my team.
Yeah.
Our team was brilliant that night. And the match was unbelievable. The match had everything. And a fella was at the match, and I still met him. He was a cameraman. He says, that's the best and the greatest match I've ever seen refereed in my life.
Is it not quite, how's the best way to say this? Is it not quite like a disappointing, probably, that you've went from that, you've enjoyed it that much, and that's just tipped you over the edge to not go back to doing what you thoroughly enjoy doing?
I don't think I was the biggest tip. I think I tipped my ma. Yeah, my dad took cancer then. My two parents died within 6 months of each other. Right, so I was never going to be able to do it anyway. But you see, standing every Saturday, I have a really great rapport with the referees. No, we chat and shit. My problem is I speak my mind.
Yeah.
And see if a referee's poor on a Saturday night, next night I say, listen, you were crap. You should have done this better. You should have done that better. And I'm only thinking the way I am. Now, he might have seen me refereeing and goes, that Dessie Loughery, man, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've a couple of, I'm not going to mention his name, there's a referee there, and he's up there his last 2 years, and he gets a while abuse there, you know. And I spoke to him a couple of times, and he says, you just seem to, you know, you seem to be a wee bit slack, you know, the thing happens, and then you react.
Yeah.
Instead of being proactive and getting yourself there and getting there. And he's thanked me because he said he's got better marks and bits and pieces better. I like the lads. They're good bunches of lads, right? You know, and all of them's good lads. I just think they're so feared to be themselves. And then maybe that's just my view.
But then again, that's probably the way players are now too.
Aye. Players can't be
You
themselves.
can't really express yourself because it's all very one-dimensional.
Oh, it's all one-dimensional, but listen, it's my life, my blood. Like I'm hoping to be in this carry on for the next 20 years, hopefully.
Well, hopefully.
If I'm loving, you know what I mean? Like, but referees, hard game. I just think they're making it harder for themselves.
You finish off as a ref. One of the last things I want to talk
Yeah.
about. And you've mentioned at the start how you were as a kid and how things went up and down
Yeah.
for you, and it was like a roller coaster. And then you go from being working all day, refereeing at night,
Yeah.
touched on, and then to nothing.
Nothing. Aye. Jeez, it was hard.
Talk to me about it.
Oh, it was hard. I think I was after everything finished. You know, what I mean? I was, what a void. No, I think nowadays it's good because players are getting spoke about more.
Yeah.
You know, but I had a disaster. Hey, just that gap full. No, I was always hyper and mad, and then the thing that happened then was I just had a massive crash. Tried to kill myself 15 years ago. Just didn't know what was wrong. I used to be wild. I've spoken about this a whole lot of times. You know, nearly jumped over the Foy Bridge. You know, and I spoke to you about it earlier. About it,
Yeah.
you know, just the anxiety and the depression, and then, you know, what happens. And then I had no help. Nowhere to turn, didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, and was sort of lost a bit. And then I sort of built up that bad that I tried to commit suicide in the Foy Bridge. And the thing I will say about it, like, is I used to be one of these boys. See if you heard of somebody committing suicide, I used to always say, and I'm only going to bad language, I'm sorry, that's a fucking selfish bastard. He didn't think of his wife and weans. He went and done himself on there and left a good family behind him. To this day, this is the only way I can really explain it. I was driving to my work. I was driving to do a job in Derry for my work. And the whole way I drove up that road, I got to pull the steering wheel of the van. No, see if I had pulled the steering, I'll tell you what was through my mind. I was going to take a seatbelt off and drive onto a lamppost. That's what was going through my mind, or drive onto a wall. I was actually contemplating hitting somebody head on the dual carriageway. That's what was going through my mind when I was driving up the road. And all this was going on. And I had nowhere to go. And then we hit the Foy Bridge, and I says, this is the easiest way out. I just stopped the van in the middle of the Foy Bridge. And I mind stopping the van. And then the next thing, there was 2 or 3 horns peeping. But you see the bit from stopping the van and standing up in the rail? Didn't even know it was there.
So you were actually on top of the rail?
Aye. You see if I had stepped over. And the only way I can explain this is, do you ever go over a humpback bridge when you're away very fast? And you get that.
The butter, like the
Aye, that near your belly,
they're
right?
on the airplane.
Aye, and you get that right. So that's what I needed. I needed that. No, that there.
Like this is
Just
real.
this is real. Just to get going. And I mean, the only thing I mean was when I don't even mind opening the van. Don't even mind opening the van door. Don't even mind stopping the van. And it wasn't till afterwards. No, I sat and thought about it. There were a boy got on the horn, or a man was peeping the horn like.
I get back in the van, move. I had to go to work.
Probably. Sorry, lucky. No, we're trying to sell me a parachute. No, I'm really not. No, like so. To this day, I never even knew I was standing there.
Right.
So, would you see if I had stepped over and killed myself? My wife would have never knew why. So, I have to take back what I always said about people being selfish.
Yeah.
Do you see some of the people that go through it? They could be in the same state of mind I was and never knew they've done it. Maybe they were thinking about it, but they've done it and haven't realised they've done it. You know, that sounds stupid. So I get into the van and this boy peeped and then I went, what am I standing here for? And then I mean getting into the van, driving over the bridge the far side and breaking down and crying. I mean, just sat there and turned the van off and I cried my heart out. And I mean, I rung my wife and I said, listen, I need help. I says, I need somebody to come for me. No, I need real help here. And then I rung her back and said, no, I'll come down home. And then in between times she had rung the doctor. And then I have a very good doctor, fair play to him. Like he gave me a jag to knock me out. He gave me a jag to settle me. And then I got settled down and then I got therapy and I've done 3 years of cognitive therapy. But I hadn't been with the wife, I wouldn't have got that because what the first reaction was, do you see when anybody's in that state of mind, they just want to pump you full of drugs? And I was sitting in the house like a zombie, didn't even know what fucking day of the week it was. Couldn't even take my tea, didn't even know you're drilling down your mouth, and that's not me. No, that's not me. I was only a shadow of a man that I was.
Yeah.
And then couldn't go to my work, which I love doing. I love my work. And then so I just said, right, I'm not taking these drugs. And then my wife, she pushed for cognitive therapy, so I got a full year of it. I met a man, I don't know if he's still living, a man called John McCann. It was unbelievable, sir. Like anybody just to sit for hours and listen to your shite.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And really a good man, peeled it right back where it should have been. And then I was diagnosed bipolar then. That's what the condition, that's a chemical imbalance apparently in the brain. And I'm on medication for it, but you have good days and bad. Like just I spoke to you there, a bad 4 weeks there. I was just trying to get it regulated. You know, as I say, it's everybody's a cross to bear in life, and this is my cross, and I'll bear it, and then hopefully, you know, not get into that state where I'm going to be like that. But I have a good family and all behind me. You know, that's the most important thing. My wife recognizes now, and then I'm starting to recognize the triggers. You know, what's way it's triggering you off, what triggers you off, and then it's how to deal with it. So I have to say, everybody knocks the NHS, you know, but your doctor will not try and give you that therapy because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And I end up getting 3 years of it, you know. But the good.
You obviously got it because you needed it.
I needed it. Oh, listen, sir, like I was a goner. But the thing is, as I always say, my biggest problem was that I'm damn good at hiding it.
Right.
So if anybody meets me, I'm always smiling, happy, and great. Like it's not the first time that I have been in a meeting and everything's great and you're laughing, joking, and you get in the car and you're driving down the road crying. Yeah. You're going to say, what am I crying here down the road for? But it's just, that's the way it is, and that's it, you know. So I just have to try and manage it and be the best. Hopefully, God forbid, and go touch wood, it doesn't tip me over to a time that I would do that again. I was pretty close there a couple of times, so I'm just going to manage it. Good. It is what it is. Like, you know, I'm not afraid to speak about it. After the Irish News did a bit about it, you know, because then you were still in the picture as being a player and a referee and all, and you know, a fella wrote a brilliant article on it. And you see, after that, I had people were ringing me up and saying, "Oh my God, I'm glad I read that. You know, this is the way I'm feeling." You know what I mean? And I know, and if I say if you help one,
that's all it matters.
One, just even one person, if you help one, sure, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
No, it's not an embarrassment, you know.
Definitely not.
No,
Far from it, actually.
no, it's not an embarrassment.
Far from it.
No.
The only thing that is probably hard for us is you grew up in a time and age where you just wouldn't say anything. It's a bit more open for me to be able to come forward and say these things, and probably changing how you were and how you grew up is more, say, the tougher side of it.
Oh, like if see if I had to come into my dad and like we were ruled with an iron fist, and if I had to come into my dad and said I wasn't feeling bad, I'd give you a until you get back out and get on with it.
Yeah.
No, catch yourself on, you're a man. But nowadays everybody's saying, like, I'm really old fashioned. I have old fashioned ways, the way I do. I have old fashioned thinkings. But like I have it to this day. I have to thank the boy who peeped the horn in the car.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be here today to talk rubbish for an hour and a half, you know what I mean?
Which here, I've really appreciated that.
No, I know. But the thing is, like, a man phoned me one time and he was crying down the phone, and he said to me, I read that story, sir, you know what I mean? He says, this is me. I'm identical to you, He says, can you help me? And I said, well, I can't help you. You have to go to your doctor. And I actually met the man then. He phoned me up and he said, you wouldn't mind coming with me? And then, the way you get a bit wary, I know this doesn't sound disrespectful, that you're going to pick up a stalker, like it, you're going to have somebody, no, it's going to be in your ear every day. Yeah. Because I'm not that person to give that advice.
It'd be very quickly and say, would you
exactly. Leave it alone. Problems and come at like. So he actually met me and told me he's doing brilliant and he's got help and he's brilliant. His family life's back, and the man he didn't lose his wife. His wife left him because of bits and pieces, just problems, and now everything's back and all that. So at least to help one or two people.
No, 100%, and we've witnessed that over the course of the podcast. I know we try not to focus on mental health side of things.
No,
the likes of Guy Hamilton's came on, and the responses and feedback, people he's been able to help, and then Aaron Smith's taking people to AA.
Yes,
these things are all incredibly positive, especially for a podcast that we thought was just going to
No. Listen, everybody's got a cross, like, and I always say it. I'm not a religious man or a holy man, far from it. But, this is just my cross to bear.
Yeah.
So we'll get on with it. I'm not going to beat me.
Well, we always finish on a positive, and one of the positives is that you have found that way out of it.
Yes.
You're an incredible photographer.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
It's all about the lighting, you see them.
I see the lights. Hey, what I tell you, I said this at the very start, sir. Do you see even if I had to do something, no matter what it is, I'll be the best at it. Because that's part of that condition I have.
Yeah.
The photography is unbelievable. And I'll tell you what the photography has helped me from. Do you see that condition I have? I go and sit. I'll give you an example. Last week, I went up onto a height. I made a height up on top of the mountain, a mile high into the mountain, where I have all these animals and birds coming. Carried 15 pounds onto a mountain, like a half foot, man, down to a mile. Built a height, go and sit there. And I can go and sit there from 5 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, or 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. And I can just sit there and be myself and just waiting something. You're just waiting unexpected coming in.
Yeah.
And then things happen. See, when that comes in, then it gives you a buzz. The sport end of it, love it, unbelievable. A lot of pressure. You're trying to be the best. That's why I keep telling. And footballers are stupid, hey. I swear. It's so stupid it's unreal. Like you're playing right now, you always see me looking over at you and I'm chatting, yes, Johnny, what's the crack now? If you score, I'm sitting in that corner. He scores and off the
Here, I've never done that, actually. But the only thing I will say is you always manage to pick out the hairline anyway. You always got the bad.
I got you in the final.
You did. That one was alright because
it
wasn't cracking back.
Turned it all back. I know, but you're like the rest is
the wing backs are showing. They're trying to.
You're not going to be good looking forever, sir. You know what I mean? I keep telling you, law. See, so I love doing this pressure. Like, see, for me taking a picture on a Saturday, like we having the pleasure of some boy sitting at the desk and editing it. Yeah. Like I can take it, put it in the laptop, caption it. Johnny Murray scores today for Crusaders, Ballymena, or whatever, 16 clubs you had. No, and that's on the sports desk within 25 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all the best of gear. Doesn't make you a photographer, but it makes your job a wee bit easier.
Yeah.
And it keeps me in there, keeps me a wee bit of camaraderie, And the funny thing is, the young boys don't know you now. You know all the young boys.
You've kind of had that circle.
I'm that circle. Yes. Young boys don't know you now. And I it was well funny. I was at Ballymena. I don't get the Ballymena games because I think what happens is I go where I'm sent on Saturday for pacemaker, so I go where I'm sent. So Ballymena will play in Linfield, so you're obviously Linfield will be covered, so you're going to be there. But once you slip out of the top four, then the midi interest is sort of as minimal, dropped off you. Like in our playing days, if you went to look for 200 clips of me, it'd be hard to get because it's only with Linfield and Giltron was covered in them days. So the midi interest drops off a wee bit from Ballymena. So I was sitting on the dugout one day, and Roy comes up and sits beside me. We were sitting chatting, John, and he goes, "I photographer, no ball, I." Said, "Do you ever play, did you?" And I said, "No, I never kicked a ball in my life." You know what I mean? I was joking around, you know what I mean? Then the boys were up shaking your hand, and somebody's up taking a selfie, right? You know what I mean? And then I seen him looking at me, and he goes, I said, "I used to play a bit." That's why I always use that to stay, and I played a wee bit, you know. And then I used to say, I scored a win of goals and all that there. And then the crack goes next to you, and you know, but nobody knows you that age group.
So it's kind of nice too.
It's nice too, but you know, and it's funny. I'm no more as a photographer now than I was a footballer.
You are 100%.
You know, because like I'm 59 coming, which is scary.
Yeah. So
I'm being the free bus pass. You know,
not even sticking the thumb out anymore.
No, I don't love it anymore. and I still got that money metro, but the photography is a class. And as I say, if I went into coaching, which I never did, I would want to be the best coach in the world too.
Yeah.
And I don't criticize players too much because the way I look at it is they're trying their best, you know, and that's why I always say, if somebody tries their best, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't like anybody not trying.
But yes, I agree.
You know,
can't be good all the time.
No, we're never good all the time. Many a bad game I had, many a name boys called me, many a crack we had. Like, you know, my boys wouldn't even warm up with me when I was playing with Ballymena against Linfield. I used to warm out myself. I used to be really funny. I used to run down that come out loud Wonder Park, run down, and everybody used to run down to the fence.
Yeah.
The other spit on you, or try and kill you, or try and hang you. Me and the wife we went to Belfast a couple of times, and we were in a store in Belfast. I've two good stories for a go, right? We were in Belfast one time, and next thing we're in Belfast shopping, and I looked across, and there's this boy looking at me, a massive boy with a beard. And they come over to me and goes, "I'm going to rip your head off and stick it up your arse." We're in a shop in the middle of Belfast. I says, "Do I know you? You're that wee and I blessed yourself and slid across your knees at Windsor." And I says, "That was my brother," right? It wasn't me. He looks well like me, right? And then he says, "It was f***ing you, right?" I had to go out the far door and go away and leave. He was going to kill me. And then I got the train from, I always tell this story, Ballymena were playing Linfield up at Ballymena, and I got the train at Ballymena station. And I said it'd be handy just to go up that way there. So I got on the train at Ballymena station, and we got to Korean. Oh, sir. Every Linfield supporter on the planet must have jumped on the train at Korean.
Right.
So I'm sitting
head
down, two carriages up, dressed in a Ballymena. You had to wear sitting them days. Ballymena sit like a kipper. Like, next thing you seen boys starting to recognise you. Right now, here we go. So they all piled up. Boy starts slapping him in the head and going on. Then the boy grabbed my foot bag, and I was holding on the bag, and the boy grabbed the bag, up the window, the bag and the bits and all out the window. Right, you're not scoring no goals against us today. So it was getting pretty intense here. So the conductor come down, and I says, "Hey, sir, you're going to have to save me here. I'm going to get chucked out this window." So I sat for the train driver from there to Ballymena. So I did. And I had to borrow some boys' bits to play the match.
You score?
I didn't score, but I still slid across and blessed myself. Just for badness. Oh, it's mad, sir, mad in them days. But yeah, listen, that's memories,
Good stories, man.
Memories.
Listen here, thank you very much. As you say, we'll not continue going because I'm sure there's stories for days. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking me up.
Well, thank you for taking the time. We do hugs in here.
That's all right.
That's all right. Anybody. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, no bother, kid.
Pleasure.
Oh, isn't it great?
Oh. Join me next week on the On the Spot Football Podcast for yet another fantastic guest. I would give it away, but mightn't even know who it is next week. See you soon.